About turning around. Are you on the brick all the way up?
Good evening. People can hear me. Welcome to the April meeting of the River Valley Beekeepers Association. My name is Ron Schwartz. I'm president of this organization forever, I think. Until somebody else wants to do it, or will do it, or
Don't show up when we're voting or something.
something like that. But anyway, I see some new faces, and I welcome you. And I see some old faces that are new. And if you don't mind, would you, some of you folks that are here, or all of you folks that are here for the first time, would you mind introducing yourself to the rest of the group?
Sure, we're Tom and Missy Fettner. We live over outside of Magazine in Reveille Valley, and we're just getting started in beekeeping.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Mark and Marcia Stang, we live in Dover, and we're just getting started.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome.
And how about Mel? Mel has been here before, but it's been a while, so
Good to be back. Bill Blaylock and Mary Blaylock.
glad to have you back. This beautiful young lady here.
I'm Blakely. I live in London, and I've been doing it for a little bit, but I'm finally getting settled to where I'm able to enjoy it.
Okay, glad to have you. Okay, there's a couple over here that I don't recognize.
Ken and Jane McKinney, we're just getting started, and we are in the Golden Pond area.
Oh, okay, great. Well, anyway, welcome all, and all you people that've been around, introduce yourselves to these new folks and make them welcome. Mostly we got business to take care of tonight. I'm gonna try to cut this a little short tonight because we have our beekeeper apparel that I'm modeling. And so we'll get that to whoever, if you've ordered something, you can pick it up back there in the after the meeting. And they're in packages with your name on them, so all you gotta do is rummage through there and find your package. Or somebody, or I can fish them out of there if I need to be. Got exciting things like treasurer's report. Treasurer is not here, he's probably camping or something. Somebody's gonna have to let the air out of his camper tire to get him to come to the meeting.
He is camping.
He is camping?
Yes, Tennessee.
Olivia, did they not email that? Did Glenn not email that to you?
I haven't.
Emailed it to you.
He emailed it to me. But anyway, what'd you say?
Did you print it?
No, I did not print it. I did not print it. I have it here on this fancy device. That now I can't do it because it's upside down. Me and this technology, I used to be pretty up to speed on it, but I think I'm getting behind on it. Now I can't even keep my iPad screen straight up and down. But anyway, our treasurer report, will just give you the bottom line unless somebody wants to know more. Then in that case, you can ask Glenn when he comes back. That our bank balance is $4,459.94. And so, that's that. Another item. Olivia, do you want to talk, or will you talk a little about the messaging thing?
Yeah.
And explain the ins and outs of it?
I'm gonna borrow this. Sorry.
Okay, so I created, at John's request, a messaging system for our beekeeping club. So,
Blaming it on me now.
yeah, blaming everything. So there are little pamphlets like this, not pamphlets, flyers like this at the front All you have to do is text at RVBeaks to 81010, and choose the parent option, and you will receive messages from me once a month reminding us, well, twice a month reminding about meetings and any other special things that are happening. It's not a group chat, so you'll only receive messages from me. There are, like I said, flyers up front, and I can also just pass this around if needed.
Now, what form do the messages come? Cause I haven't gotten any yet. Do you have to download the app?
No, it'll just go through, I'll check and make sure that you're put in properly.
Which is just like that,
Yeah,
just a text.
Oh, it's just a text message?
yeah, it's just a text message. If you don't wanna do it through text, I can talk to you and set it up through your email. It's just you have to do like a few other extra steps to do that, so.
Thank you.
Any questions about the messaging system? Okay. The beekeeper's calendar, which, one thing we like to do at our meetings is kind of try to help people, anticipate what is about to happen with your bees so that you can. And in Robert's case, it's swarm, his bees are gonna swarm. And, so, we're pretty much right in the middle of swarm season. It's, had been for a while. I would like to think it's kind of on the downhill slide, but it doesn't seem to be that they ever quit. So, you need to be watching your bees, and hopefully you, will have taken measures to mitigate swarms that, if you want that to happen to them. Some people are pretty okay with it, but, me, I kinda just, I do halfway. Some of them I just let swarm, the other ones I try to stop, but, anyway, if you're inclined to track bees, or catch swarms, I think, John, do you still keep the swarm list at the store, or?
We do, yeah.
So, what happens with, sometimes people will have a swarm at their house or on their property, and they will, a lot of times they'll call John because he's got a business, and, then John has a list of people that will call that can come get them. Now, whenever you get a call, ask a lot of questions, because sometimes I've went on calls that I thought I was going to get a swarm of bees, and only to find out that it was really a bunch of yellow jackets. And that's kind of a downer. Whenever you, come across that, and then sometimes, you will find that, you know, a swarm of bees consists of, anytime you have more than 4 bees flying around, that's a swarm. And then sometimes it's actually they live in their house. And, that's, I usually kinda like, ma'am, or sir, whichever the case may be, I say, I'll see you later. Because getting them out of a structure is pretty difficult. Although I can maybe someday report on trapping out, and I've been roped into helping a former classmate in Paris with James Ryan, called me the other day. I don't know if you know who James Ryan is, but, so anyway, I'm gonna learn to trap out process, so maybe that'd be something in our future to learn how to do that. So anyway, in addition to swarms, I'm certain that the nectar flow is gonna start someday. Usually we're right in the thick of it right now, but we're not this year. I guess it's just the cool weather, but if you have bees that are, you know, built up enough to start making honey, they should be starting, I mean, just any day now. But, and whenever they do start, you know, can seem like a mild-mannered, just easygoing colony of bees can turn into a comb-building, honey-storing machine, and just overnight. And so it can take some keeping up with them to make sure they have a place to store honey without getting bound up. And because what they can do is just like getting too many bees in the hive, that can trigger a swarming tendency, or so I'm told. Anything else? People got questions? I don't have much of a program tonight. But,
Blackberries are blooming and the Privis is just picking the storm.
yeah, the 1 yard that I have, I noticed that, the clover usually is way ahead of blackberries, but this year it's kind of like almost at the same time. Is that blackberries just started around my house, the blackberries aren't blooming yet. But over in Johnson County, down by the river, they are. So,
We're having bloom.
yeah. So, anything else? I really don't have much tonight. I wanted to make sure we had time for, the garments, but anyway, usually we have a lot of questions, so.
So the late nectar flow effect when we get the new hives of bees, new nukes?
John?
Say that, what was the question?
Oh, the question is, will the late nectar flow affect whenever the nukes will be available? John says no.
No, and in reality, the fact that,
That's
normally
actually a
the
good
nectar
thing.
flow would be starting real good right now. If you get bees from now till mid-May, you're still gonna be in the flow.
Yeah.
So it's really gonna work to your advantage.
It's actually a good thing, yes. Robert, you act like you got a questioning look on your face there.
No, I just wanted to add, cause
You
we're
just-
relatively new, this is starting our 3rd year, and I needed queens early for a predicament that I was in. I ordered queens from North Carolina Bee Supply. They've been in business for 12 years. I got queens shipped overnight, very good experience. Those folks were awesome to talk to, very knowledgeable. They sell over 1,000 queens a year. So I would highly recommend them if you need queens earlier in the year. Good experience.
Okay. Yeah, queens are fairly easy to come by a little bit later, but early they can be hard to find. So, be a good resource early anyway. Julie?
Does anybody here have experience grafting queens? Has anybody tried that?
Okay, the question is, does anybody have any experience with grafting queens? No. Okay. I don't like it when people point at me and start laughing.
You should be used to it.
I heard you were gonna be the master.
No, Jacob Bates, our bee inspector, is teaching a class on May the 20th on that, which I think the deadline for putting in your money for that is
May 1st.
May 1st, which is like tomorrow or something like that, or
Next Monday, next Monday.
It's $75, and I think you get a queen, you get a mated queen, and you go into a drawing for nuke bees. So I'm going to take the class. I don't know if I'll be able to graft queens or not when we get done, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So, anybody else that's interested, you really need to move on that.
Hey, Ron, for the uneducated among us, what does that mean?
Okay, that's a good question. The question is, what does grafting a queen mean? Okay, it is a method of raising queens new queens to put in hives to, you know, for whatever, many reasons that from time to time a hive may need to have a new queen. Maybe the old queen dies, or maybe the old queen just not doing very well, not laying enough eggs, it's just not enough, not very fecund anymore. And so you need to replace one. Sometimes people like to split a hive and introduce a new queen to the new half of it, the half without the queen. And what they do, people that raise queen, this is an advanced thing, this is not a beginner thing, it's a method where they take like 1 day old larvae out of the cell with a special little tool, and they mass produce queens. They put them in a little capsule, and then the bees kind of take it from there. But it's a method to make like large quantities of new queens. Otherwise, you're left with having to do splits, like split a hive in half and let one half make a new queen, which you're kind of limited to one at a time that way. Whereas this way they can make 40 or 50 at a time. So good question. Anything else? We've got nectar flow coming on. We should have questions about that. Everybody.
It seems like to me this is kind of a rough time because, I mean, I've had honey on my bees all winter and they still have honey on them. But, you know, they're out flying one day and the next day they're holed up in the hive. So I know they're eating. So I've been trying to just do a tilt check with mine and make sure they still have something to eat because they're not bringing anything sufficient enough to survive. So that's something I think we need to think about. At least that's what I'm experiencing.
That can be fairly serious. What we was talking about is that basically keep an eye on your hives, especially when the bee populations are going to be naturally very high this time of year, because bees have been, you know, they know there's a nectar flow coming, and so their numbers are way high, so they consume a lot, and it requires a lot of energy, a lot of food to feed all those bees. And if the weather is not conducive for them to go out and forage, which they do that on days that they can, but there's just not a ton of forage out there yet. It will be soon. Is that they can actually run out of food this time of year. In fact, I think I mentioned it last meeting that I lost a hive this year. I'm blaming it on my knee. I don't know what I'm gonna do whenever I can't use that excuse anymore, but I had a colony. It was like very strong. I mean, probably one of the strongest colonies I've ever had. And their numbers, I know this after the fact, but they built up their numbers very early, like early March. And if you remember, back about that time, we had about 2 or 3 days of 28, 29 degree temperatures, pretty cold. So, you know, how bees stay warm when it's cold is that they basically use their muscles and their wing muscles to generate heat, kind of like you would do if you get cold. You kind of shiver, and that's what they do to generate heat. But anyway, that takes energy, and they get their energy from stored honey. But anyway, this colony had gotten so strong that they consumed all of their honey that they had stored. So when those cold temperatures hit, they ran out of gas, and essentially the whole colony died overnight. And I just dumped. I mean, they just like buckets, 5-gallon buckets full of bees. It's pretty sad. But anyway, as long as we don't have those really frigid temperatures, it's not gonna be as serious as that case, but, it's always a good idea to, pay attention to how much storage your bee have until you really see them, bringing in nectar, and which is brings up another case where I occasionally I have a chance to mentor people, and I know that's probably like, okay, that's a blind leading the blind, but he was having some issues with the hive, with his colony, and I asked him, how much honey they have. And he said, well, I don't know. I said, well, have you not looked in the hive? He said, well, no. And I said, well, have you, how heavy is your hive? He said, well, I don't know. And, but teach yourself, especially, you new people getting bees, is that what a lot of people do, and I do it, is get in the habit of, I go to like the back of the hive, it's just better that way since the bees don't get as mad at you, and just kind of lift it up. Just don't lift the whole thing up, just kind of tilt it forward a little bit like that, and see what that feels like. And then when you look in there, you say, okay, it's kind of like, is this heavy or this light? And you start developing a kind of a relation or correlation between how heavy this box feels and how much honey is in there. And that can be just a really quick way of, you can go through your whole yard, even if you got 20 or 30 hives, and say, well, this one's okay, this one's okay, this one's not. That way, this is the one that you need to give attention to. So, but you don't know that until you've lifted some hives. So you gotta teach yourself that correlation. And the best time to do it is all the time, The best time to do it is whenever you can.
Before they're dead in the box.
Before they're dead, yeah, before they're like me in there, and you gotta figure out what to do with 10 gallons of dead bees. Except cry. Anyway, good question. Well, I guess if that's it, I think we're ready to adjourn the meeting, and remember, I'll go back there and help you people that, I guess, meet me back there, and we'll dig out if you've ordered garments, and we'll, find them, and then we'll do our raffle next year. Olivia.
I am looking at getting us guest speakers for future meetings. Does anybody have any requests for topics they'd like to be covered?
Give her the mic, Ron.
I have one.
I am looking at getting us guest speakers for future meetings. Does anybody have any topics they'd want covered, just in general?
Olivia? Do you have someone or can find someone on the bee venom sting therapy?
I have tried, there's not many in Arkansas, so I was gonna reach out and see if I could get, there's a few that I know of where I could get material from them and do a little, like, my own course on it, because there's not very many, or any that I know of in Arkansas.
I'm sorry, what was the topic?
Bee venom therapy?
That was the guy we got a couple of years back. That came out.
Yeah.
He was like out of Sherwood or somewhere like that, wasn't he?
Ari Johnson.
The guy I used to work with, he said there was a guy up around Ozark. And
Okay.
I don't know, I could try to get a name from him.
Yeah, cause whenever you search up bee venom Arkansas, it's, yeah.
Okay.
So. Anything else? Oh.
Cost and feasibility of going into business to produce honey to make a living.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
That's way too much.
I may get like a honey producer in Arkansas, I'm not.
You mean you don't make money?
What you been
As long as you don't count the expenses.
I thought this was supposed to be a tax write-off.
It's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
It's like the deer hunter that brings home free deer meat.
Exactly. Oh, also, I want to promote on Saturday, there is a big Mother's Day market in downtown Flee. They're gonna be the same building at the Polk County Fairground. I'm gonna be there with a booth. And it's a great way to support small businesses, and there's going to be, I'm sure there's people selling honey there and bee products, so y'all should come down and see it. 2 events in one at the Polk County Fairgrounds
What time?
all day, from like 9 to 6.
And that is on
Saturday. Okay, here's the
Ron, since the treasurer's not here, do I have to come back another time to pay my dues?
That would be best.
Or just wait till next year.
Yeah, just whenever you can come back. You don't have to pay your dues to come back, but, I don't think we keep track of that too close. Anything else before we have our door prize drawing? Okay, and we got a door prize drawer.